Goo goo gaga. Let's look at some health and safety violations. Okay, so the other day I was doing my bi-weekly, thrice monthly playthrough of Rugrats Royal Ransom for the GameCube. It's Adventure Time. I was playing through this like I always do, and it came to my attention that this game is a health and safety nightmare. Like, it is almost barbaric, the degree in which these babies do not care about their own safety. Is what I was going to say. I had planned out this video. Well, I hadn't planned it out. I'd thought about this video for at least 45 minutes when I came to the conclusion or remembered a very key factor in the way that Rugrats works. For those who don't know, Rugrats is a universe in which the Rugrats, the children, the children in the game, in the world of Rugrats, this guy here, he's a bit quiet. I think his name's Tommy. Rugrats. The adventures of Rugrats take place entirely in the heads of the titular characters, the Rugrats themselves. I'm going to admit I never really watched Rugrats as a child. I only ever played this game. But the adventures of the Rugrats take place entirely in their heads. So I was going to come on to the camera. I had a whole thing planned. I was making notes. You can't see them, but they are here. You're gonna have to trust me, please. Trust me. I have made notes. I was gonna come on and be like, all these things are the problems with Rugrats, and I'm aware that we are currently probably about 2 to 3 minutes into the video, and I have yet to really show you the game. So I am going to get into that right now. I was going to come on and say that there is so much wrong with the ice lift. I can't remember what that's called. I'm embarrassed now. I don't know what Anyway, I was going to come on and be like, there's so much wrong with it. Look, it's moving constantly. There's no staff. There's nothing like this. There's snowmen around. There's snowmen around. They're like throwing snowballs at you. That's a problem. Then I was going to be like, I don't think that babies should be doing parkour in the desert. That seems like something that babies shouldn't be doing. There's a whole level where you're chasing monkeys in the jungle. And then there's also a level where you're in a boat race with a crocodile or an alligator. I don't know the difference of them. I was going to point out that there's a level on the second tier in which I'll get into the tiers in a minute. That's important. But I was going to get into the whole thing, how there's a level where there's clowns that throw ice cream at you in where you are left in a theme park alone with these clowns that look like this, sound like this. And are hidden all around the place like bloodborne enemies. Cursed beast! And that throw snow cones at you, all the while making your way into a building that looks like this, that leads to a slide into a storage area of a circus that is really not something that a baby should be partaking in or going anywhere near. But I will say a really small detail about this circus. I do quite like this. There are like crash mats around, although they're not really a bit too thin to be a crash mat. They're like an acrobatic mat or something, which is like the only place in the entire game where there's so much in this game that just hasn't been done properly. Like, this whole circus is full of games that you can't play or do anything with, yet these crash mats do actually stop fall damage. It's a minor point. It has nothing to do with health and safety. Well, it does have a lot to do with health and safety, actually. That's actually the most health and safety conscious thing in the entire game, and unfortunately I cannot count it because it takes place in the brain of the child. So sorry, Rugrats, sorry Chucky, doesn't count. Sucks to suck, I guess. I was going to talk about, there's a level called Cream Pie Flyer. I was just going to kind of put that in there. I still can, really, but I was just going to put that in there and say that's just the name of a level. I may not even have mentioned the fact that it's a level where you're a baby flying a plane around a circus while there are clowns throwing ice cream at you or snow cones. I wasn't even going to really mention that. I was just going to be immature and laugh at the word Cream Pie Flyer. There's a level where you are an unsupervised child riding a camel spitting at scarab beetles. You go into a cave that is just full of lava, like so much lava. I don't think that this is actually, I think this is an active volcano and not a cave, and children should not be playing on active volcanoes. I don't think I have to tell people that children should not be playing on active volcanoes, but it seems like I do. But at the same time, I don't, because this is taking place in the child's head. I have to nail that home, that this is taking place in the child's head. Because when I get to the actual health and safety concerns of this game, you will be terrified, because somehow they are worse, because they are potentially real. There are, on the lava level, you are jumping over platforms. There's poison being spat at you. You're tackling a rogue genie. You're trying to take down a rogue genie. So you're meddling in dark magics. Once again, not something a child should be doing, or realistically, something that a child of the age of the Rugrats should actually know. So I don't really know why we're battling a genie. There's a whole level which I refuse to do, just in any playthrough ever. I think in my entire life of playing Rugrats Royal Ransom nearly weekly, I have never done the level Acrobaty Dash. I'm just going to sort of show you here. Just look at what Acrobaty Dash looks like and tell me that's safe for a child. But actually don't, because it's actually taking place in the brain of the Rugrats, because I know how the Rugrats work. I may not be a Rugrats enthusiast or theologist, but I do know that Rugrats take place in their head. There's a level where you're like riding a dinosaur. You're in Dinotopia, Dino Land, looking at dinosaurs and fiddling with them and riding them and grabbing their eggs and things. And I don't think a baby should be doing that. There's one level where you're in space, and I just think that being in space is not very conducive to a baby being alive. But once again, I was going to say that, but I can't say that because it takes place in their head. This is a health and safety nightmare if you are the thought police, which, as you may be aware, I am not. There's a level, one of the levels is set in the medieval times, and I'll be honest, I didn't actually get to that point in the game. I mean, I got to it, I just didn't play that level because I just didn't want to. I only needed to play as far up as I needed to, and I can't actually remember what goes on in the medieval one, the medieval level. There's a level where you're underwater, which I don't think is good for babies. I do know that babies, if you don't cut the umbilical cord, a baby can live indefinitely underwater. Not relevant, really, I don't think. I'm pretty certain that Tommy doesn't have the umbilical cord still attached. That would be quite a barbaric thing for, I think, Nicktoons to play. So I don't think Tommy has the umbilical cord still attached. But it has been a very long time since I've watched Rugrats, so it is possible. I was going to say things like this. I was going to point out all these problems in the levels, because there really is a lot of them. But as I was playing the game, as I was trying to make notes on this, there was that little bit inside me, the little brain goblin, the little thing that sits in the back of my head, that's kind of like the YouTube comment section, but much worse, because the YouTube comment section doesn't actually have any control over what I'm doing, but this does. There's a little bit inside me that did repeatedly, every time I found something, go, yeah, it's not real, is it? Like, even in Rugrats lore, in Rugrats universe, they are it's just the kid's imagination. And so at that point, I was gonna throw the whole video out, which I probably should have done. I probably should have done regardless. But then I remembered that not all of it takes place in the baby's imagination. Some of it is real. Some of it does take place in the real world, and that's where it gets scary. That's where it gets very scary, because this is less of a health and safety video now and more of Stu is a criminal. Stu is putting these children at risk of death, destruction, dismay, dismembering, just being catapulted out of the garden. There is so much wrong with the outside, significantly less than what's on the inside of the game, so to speak, but still so much wrong, because well, the main part being that Stu's the one in charge. Stu's the dad. The game itself is pretty much you take place on one of Stu's many inventions. I think that's a part of the lore, the Rugrats lore, is that Stu, which I think is Tommy's dad, maybe, is an inventor of toys. He then takes those toys, tries to sell them. I think that's what happens. But he's made a new toy. So now I'm going to get onto the premise of Rugrats. We've been in this video for possibly over 10 minutes now. My timer on my audio is we're at 17 minutes now. So let's go on to the point of Rugrats very briefly. Stu has made a toy, a play place, a jungle gym, I guess, for his children, which is a nice thing for a dad to do, or a parent to do, for a fairly normal thing, I imagine, for parents to do. At the very beginning, in the opening cutscene, you see that he has this tiny little castle-like structure, and then he presses the button on this machine, and it expands into something big. That's where one of my problems happens, is that it expands from this tiny little thing. Yeah, there's not a single thing around to specify where it's going to expand to, because the camera pulls back and we see the babies just stood there watching this happen. Like, these babies are in the proverbial splash zone of this monolith that is just emerging out of nowhere. And nowhere, Stu doesn't go, babies, stand back. You might die. That doesn't happen, There's no alarms, there's no sirens. He just presses the button and it's instant. It's up, it's gone. And the babies have been turned to mulch and are now fertilizing the garden. But that's one of the many problems. That is one of the many problems that I've seen there. But then next he goes on to say, like, hey, Grandpa, I need to go to the shop to fix this. It's not done yet. Don't let the babies touch it. It will hurt them. They may end up having fingers removed. I need to go. I've got to get some paper clips and I think it's like duct tape. Look after the babies. Yeah. I don't know much about Rugrats, as I've said. I know enough to know that old man is not certified to look after children. Like, he's already asleep by the time that the cutscene ends. But to make it worse, when the cutscene has ended, he's gone. He's just not in the game anymore. He's just disappeared. Like, he's gone down to Laddie's or something. Like, he's just betting on the horses this whole time. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's not in the game anymore. So he's either at Laddie's or he's been buried. I don't know. Either way, #cancel grandpa is all I'm saying. Let's get this guy. Get this man to see justice. He is a reckless old man, and he needs to be
shot.
I don't really know what we do to old people that don't look after children properly. So, I'm not a lawmaker. Ugh, that coffee's disgusting. Moving into the main game. You get to choose from one of 5 Rugrats, I think. You get to choose from Phil, Lil, that one, Tommy, and Chucky. I only ever chose Chucky and Tommy. It's going dark in my room. I haven't got a lighting set up, so the lighting is going to change consistently. I like the natural lighting. It makes me, all natural. Next time I'm going to be making a video in the nude, because that's like what God intended or something. First of all, one of the first things that I noticed while perusing this is not actually anything to do with the levels and the stages. In fact, it's not even got anything to do with the main game. You can just walk into the house. And so there are a few things that are a problem here, which you might be thinking, this is someone's house, which it is. So this is no longer a health and safety video. This is just me getting annoyed at Stu. Like, Stu specifically for the state that he has left the house in, and the fact that he has left his children unaccompanied while he just goes to buy paper clips. I think this is a Stu hate video. I despise Stu. Stu is the worst human being on this planet. I don't think there is anyone I hate more than Stu. right at this very moment, right now, Stu is actually Satan. Anyway, in the house, there are several things wrong, including the fire that's on. I don't think it needs to be on. It doesn't seem like it's a cold day outside. They just got the fire on. But the baby can just walk up to the fire. The fire is just on. You can walk up to it. You can stick your fingers in it. I mean, in theory, you could. The baby, you can't as the player. It's not allowed. But in theory, you could, as the baby, go and stick your head in the fire. One of my actual concerns, though, is that on the walls of this house, there are just pictures of other people's children. Like, not Stu's child. Just that child there is not Stu's child. I don't know who that is. Actually, no, yes, I do. She's the narrator of the game. I've just remembered that. She's the narrator. I do know who that is. That's just a picture of a girl that's not Stu's child. As far as I'm aware, that is not Stu's child. That is just a random girl from the neighborhood that's just on Stu's wall. There are several pictures of this girl on Stu's wall. I'm not going to say what that means about Stu, but I'm going to infer it. You know, you're gonna have to use your brain a little bit when I say that it is a bit weird that Stu has another family's daughter on his wall. I do have to specify though that it's not completely weird to have pictures of other people's children in your house if you have your child in that picture as well. Like if it's a picture of your child having fun with their friends, that's fine. But the problem here is Stu's just got just that child, just in a picture frame. I don't know the lore. I had a brief look at the wiki, the Rugrats wiki, which there is one, and I don't think it's Stu's child. I don't think they're related. I do think that's just another family's child. I'm pretty certain that's another family's child that is on Stu's wall. So let's just move on from that and not think too hard about it, because I think that's weird, personally. I just think that's strange. I'm not a parent, but I wouldn't do that if I was me, personally, which I am me. Anyway, moving on to the outside. To get in, you have a hovervator, which is just a fancy term for a lift. That costs 100 coins, I think. That's your one-up mechanic. Your one-up mechanic is that you get pushed, you get thrown down the slide, and you then have to spend 100 coins to get back in. I'm going to point out that babies should not be collecting coins. I actually forgot to say this, actually thinking about it. You may have noticed this is not a scripted video. I have just played Rugrats a lot. I have played this game so much over my 6 years of living that I can just talk about Rugrats Royal Ransom for hours. This is more than anything just me finally getting it out there, because I've just always wanted to talk about Rugrats Royal Ransom for no reason. Anyway, so the basics of this game are that you have to collect little batteries and big batteries. The little batteries are used to unlock new levels, and the big batteries are used to unlock new platforms. Think of like the big batteries as like stars in Mario or something. So in like Mario 64, they're the things that you get to unlock later levels. I have not got a battery. Wait, no, do I? I have a battery right here, and it does not actually say keep out of the hands of children. So Amazon Basics does in fact call for children to consume these. Just letting you know. That may actually be libel or slander, so that was a joke. Do not eat batteries. Do not give them to your children. But that comes on to the point of babies are collecting batteries. That's not good. There should not be batteries just littered around the thing that your children are playing in for them to pick up. Like, that's just not good. You can't do that, Stu. Stu, you're an idiot. You are actually an idiot. Pick up the batteries and take them to Tesco or wherever the disposal place is. You're not supposed to put them in the bin, but we all do. So even if you do that, Stu, that's good enough for me. Stu, pick up the batteries. Your babies are going to eat them. Okay? It's the same with the coins. There are coins scattered around. Those babies are going to eat those coins. They may look big, but I'm going to put that down to video game logic. They're big so you can see them. But no, that's a normal coin. Those are normal batteries. Those children are going to eat them. Just pick them up, Stu. It's not good. It's not good, Stu. So before we get on the hovervator, which I've just mentioned is a lift. I do also want to point out that I know I pointed the Hovervator out when I've got no intention of talking about it yet. I've got stuff to say about it because it exists in the physical world. Therefore, it's in the cutscene, so it exists. That's what I'm going to say about that. But no, because on the first platform there is the frost level, the snow level, and hanging down from the snow level are icicles. And icicles are incredibly dangerous, like really, really dangerous. I don't live in a country where I have to deal with them ever, but if they are getting to the size that they are in the game, they are dangerous and they will kill. They may kill you. So you do have to. Those are dangerous, Stu. Stu, I'm sorry, but you are going to kill these babies. Like, you are an idiot. You are a moron. These children are going to die. I can't stress that enough, that you can't just have icicles hanging down, because if they snap off they will come down. They have got a point to them. There is a problem. They're going to impale your child and the child of other neighbors, because apparently everyone's child just congregates in your garden, which I'm also not going to question for the sake of I don't want to get slander claims. I don't want to get internet beef with Stu Pickles of Rugrats fame. But that's not all, folks. The Hovervator is just that. It's something that takes you up between each levels. There's nothing stopping you from just like leaning in with your head and just going smack into the top. There's nothing stopping that from happening. So unsafe. It needs things. Oh, I've just remembered. Just put that in. You know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. There's one person in the comments of the previous video who knows what I'm talking about. Just put that in. Just you'll see. You'll see. Unless you're blind, in which you won't. Sorry. So on the first, when we get into when we get to the very, very first floor, what ends up happening is you see that we can go to the forest area and the snow area. Let's look at the snow area first. First of all, there is snow constantly falling from the sky. I don't know how old this game is. I could look. I've got the box here in front of me. It is from 2003, so it's definitely not asbestos. So at least we've got that going for us. I don't know how safe fake snow is for babies. I'm just going to say probably not very. But more importantly, as you can see, there is a wall around the whole platform, not high enough for the baby to not climb over. So, first of all, your baby can just climb over the edge and fall in. This is now turned into a product review. Sorry about that. Do not buy this product from Stu. He is rambunctious. He's a charlatan. He's selling snake oil. He is nothing but a snake oil salesman trying to get you to buy counterfeit goods that he bought off Wish and Temu and other buzzwords relating to poor quality products. The most egregious thing, though, of the snow area is the slide, which is made of ice. There is no handrails or guardrails to climb up, and it is situated right up against the edge. So if a baby was to fall off of it, it's fallen off. It's fallen right over the side, and I'm not going to say what it said, what happens to it, because it's too graphic, and just imagine what would happen if a baby fell 2 stories onto the ground. It's not good. I'll be honest, not good at all. There's probably some horrible videos out there of it happening. Don't look it up. It probably exists. You know, it's just sad, isn't it, really, if you think about it too long. So let's not think about it too long. Let's just go back to thinking about Rugrats and Stu being actually just possessed by a demon. So that's what's going on in the snow area. In the wood area, some might call it a jungle, there is once again a thing that the baby can climb on, like a climbing wall frame. No, it's like you can come up to a platform to get into one of the stages, and you can just jump right over the edge. You can just jump right over over the edge, and there's no barrier. There's no barrier to stop the child from falling off like that. This thing here is like 2 times the height of the baby, which babies shouldn't be falling down. After you complete each stage, you get a big battery, as I mentioned. Those big batteries are put into this box that's right here. That box there, this is like the battery array. It's not something that I don't don't think that's something that the toddlers should be touching. I don't think those battery slots are about as big as the toddlers, so I think that the baby could fit in there, and I think that's probably quite a problem. There is exposed wiring and things that the babies can tug on and chew on, and as someone who knows myself well enough and still has my original GameCube controller from when I was that age, the age of these children, I know damn well that those children are going to chew on those wires. I will probably insert a picture of my GameCube controller. I have chewed it a lot. There is a lot of chewing. I used to chew it all the time. I don't know why, but I used to chew my GameCube controller. It is practically unusable. My sister hated me for it because she had to use the off-brand controller because she didn't want to use the chewed one. Anyway, those wires, bad. Children should not be able to touch those. So I don't think I need to say that, but they should not be able to. Also, once again, hover Vader right in the middle, completely exposed. In the corner here, you will see what is a baby sucking tube, which takes you into an area that is what I only really assume to be the brain of this whole operation. It's just like a command center. You actually can buy mini games and things from there. I don't know how that works. I've never ever in my life used it. First of all, it just looks very unpleasant for a baby to be sucked into this tube. That does not look like something that the baby would enjoy. Second of all, when you're in here, there is just no guardrails to stop the children tumbling into the mechanisms that are beneath their feet. That you could just fall into that. There's nothing stopping them. It's also very like glass, this metallic glass surface, very slidey, I assume. Some of them don't have shoes on, so it's very hit or miss whether or not they're going to slip and slide and fall into the machinery. Once you have gotten enough batteries, the building then expands rapidly and violently with the babies on it. Like there's nothing to say that the babies get out of it, and once the transformation has finished, you will see that the baby is still standing where you left it. So that's a problem. Like that's not good because it's it's a very violent transformation. Like that baby is being crushed in the mechanisms or being flung off to a nearby town. There's no alarms, there's nothing. It just happens suddenly. You just put in the final battery and it just starts. You don't press a button, there's no interaction, no levers, nothing like that. It just starts. It's vicious. Once again, Stu, you are a villain. You are the villain of this game is meant to be Angelica, but I'm changing that. It's Stu. Stu is the problem. We should be fighting Stu, and we should be taking him down. I hope his name is Stu, by the way. I hope that guy's name is Stu, because I forgot to look that up beforehand. Hold on. Yeah, it's the right guy. Got it right. All right, good. He's a hideous creature of a creature. So, moving up to level 2. What we see is 3 stages. So, 1 through the baby sucker, then 1 is the desert, and then 1 is a circus. So, the circus one just has a popcorn machine that is constantly spewing out popcorn, just all the time. First of all, unhygienic, because I know that I probably would have done this as a baby. They're going to eat it. They're going to eat it off the floor. That's just going to happen. It's going to happen. Also, it's going to attract rats and ants and other small creatures like seagulls and like a hawk. Just like a hawk swoops down to get some popcorn, but Tommy's there like eating it and just like the hawk grabs Tommy and flies off with it. It's gonna be it's a problem. Okay, there's also what looks like a trampoline, although it doesn't work, but there are working trampolines in the game, so I don't really know what that is. So I'm just gonna say that's bad because it's giving you extra height for the child to jump over the edge, because once again you could just jump over the edge. There is nothing stopping them from jumping over the edge. I have seen the upper body strength of these toddlers. I have seen how high they can jump. They've got a double jump, although once again that's in their imagination supposedly. So, but they can double jump in the real world. So I do actually think that double jump is something they can do. So I do think these are unusually acrobatic toddlers. So I'm going to give them that. I'm going to say that that's a real thing. These toddlers are able to jump like 3 meters into the sky. So these toddlers can just jump straight over the edge. There's nothing to stop them from doing that. And they can't read or like do anything. You know, they're not smart because they're toddlers. And toddlers don't know that they're not supposed to climb on something. So they can just jump right over the edge. It's not... you could put a sign up. Like you could do that. There are no signs. I did say that briefly. If you were deaf, you wouldn't have. Sorry, no. If you were blind, you wouldn't have. No. Anyway, you would know that there is no signage. There is no handrails or anything like that. That you could just jump straight over the edge. Moving into the desert area, there is a paddling pool for the toddlers to play in, which there is no lifeguard, but you won't really need it. It's meant to be in your house, so it won't be a lifeguard. The problem is that there's no adult supervision. Something to point out for the whole thing is that, like I said earlier, there is no adults anywhere in this entire game, apart from when you've got the weird clowns, but like I said, in their head.
We are born of the blood.
This paddling pool is a big problem because babies, they can't swim. They do get little floaties, little water wings or armbands, if you're me, if it's in water that needs it, but this isn't water that needs it, and you can drown in any amount of water. So this, unfortunately, it might be me being overly cautious, but you definitely need someone to make sure that these toddlers are not inhaling water at an industrial scale. Is there anything else in the desert area? Did I write anything else down? No. I think the desert platform's fine. I don't think there's much wrong with that from what I remember, other than, falling over the edge. As I have pointed out several times, there is a concerning amount of guardrails in the lacking department. Once again, there is still the open wiring and everything on the side of the wall that just kind of is there and is a problem for the babies. They put their hands in it, spit on it, climb on it. I don't really know what babies do. I don't spend much time around them. Anyway, through the baby sucking tube once more, you will see that it is a water area. There's no lifeguard. There's no one watching this. There's no one keeping these babies safe. This is just an area full of water that the babies can walk around in. Splish splash. The babies are taking a bath and there's no one watching them. So, Stu, I'm getting annoyed. I mean, I got annoyed earlier. Actually, I've calmed down quite a bit from my annoyance of Stu earlier, because you can't stay hate-filled forever. Sometimes you start being annoyed at Stu Pickles, and partway through the video, you begin to wonder why. Actually, I do know why. It's because of how he treats these children. Moving up to the final level, the final stage, I don't think there's much more to say, but I do have to point out, and I'm going to point it out. I know I've pointed it out every single time I've noticed it, but I'm going to have to point it out 1,000 times, because it really is just the most egregious part of this whole thing. Like, it really is just how easy it would be for a child to fall over the edge of this, because this gets not exponentially, it gets taller and taller as the game goes on. Like, we are like a good 100 meters into the sky. I'm not good at estimating distances, but we are a good distance into the sky now, and like, if a child falls off of this, then it is going to be a problem. Stu, most of these children are not yours. Their blood will be on your hands. These are not your kids. That doesn't mean that he can kill his. It's not. Stu, you can't kill your child. I'm sorry. You're not allowed to take your child down. Just because it's yours doesn't mean you can kill it. I'm sorry. Okay? You can't. Leave Tommy alone. Okay? He's not your... But he is yours. Unless there's a lot of deep lore. People have a lot of theories about Rugrats, so maybe there is one in which Tommy is not actually Stu's child. But you can't kill him. I'm sorry, Stu. But coming up to the very, very top, there's only 3 levels. At the very top, you have the lava level, the dinosaur level, the moon level, the space level, and then the medieval level. And at this point, there's not much more for me to say other than what I said about the height. In the medieval thing, there's a platform that you can walk across that just falls. There's no guardrails or anything. The lava level seems to have some strange sparks and like fire spewing out of the top, but it seems to be diminishing before it gets to the ground, so that's not really a problem. But I would also argue that having an ignition source anywhere near what children are meant to be playing with is probably not for the best. Just in general, like, you just want to avoid children and fire interacting as much as possible. As far as I'm aware, fire is not very healthy for babies. I haven't had one, so I don't know. I don't plan on having a child, so if you are a parent, please let me know whether or not what the safe limit for child fire consumption is, because There probably is a limit, actually. Everything has a limit. Everything in moderation. That's what I was always taught. So other than that, we're pretty much, we're at the top. We're at the end. I haven't really gone into much depth with the way this story works, because there's not. It's just babies fighting with each other, trying to get their toys back from Angelica. Like, there's not much to say. But other than that, I think that's everything. But I actually do think that there is one thing that is a greater concern. Do you want to know what the biggest problem I have with all this, Stu? After all this, one of the biggest problems that I've noticed that I have yet mentioned is I was just able to walk in here. There was nothing stopping me, Stu. Your front door was unlocked. I just walked in here and started, I was able to critique this. I should not, as a 26-year-old man, be able to just walk into your house. Don't ask why I was trying. That's not important. What you need to know is why I was able to. I shouldn't have. Don't worry about why I was trying. I didn't see a cool slide and want to go down it. Shut up. Shush. Okay, I think the video might be done now. I'm not sure. But what I do want to say is thank you for watching. This was very much an off-the-cuff video. I was stressing over making this video for no reason whatsoever. I hadn't started scripting it or anything, and so I went, why don't I just not? Why don't I just not script it? Why don't I just sit here? Why don't I just note down some things and just sit here and talk about it for a bit? So I'm sorry if it's different to the previous video, but I'm also you're welcome if you like it more. I apologize for the time it has been between me releasing the previous video and this video. I was playing Valheim and got distracted. It will happen again. I would like it if you could subscribe to me on YouTube and leave a comment. You can. I would like it if you're going to say anything mean to me, preface it with this is constructive criticism first, so I know that you are being mean to me out of love and not out of hatred. Thank you for watching once again. I appreciate it. If you would like to check me out on Twitch, I try and stream a little bit occasionally there. I've been playing Valheim, as I've mentioned. I don't really know what. I just kind of play whatever comes to mind. So yeah, if you want to hang out on Twitch, come and hang out with me and my moderators, because they're the only people that show up. That's a slight exaggeration. Don't worry. I reckon I do know there's other people that watch me. So actually no, the other people show up more than my moderators. I'm sorry. I have to point it out. So yeah, no, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. If you've got any ideas for videos to make, tell me. I might make them. Probably not. But, at least have your say. At least speak your piece. So yeah, thank you for watching. Take care. Comment, subscribe, like. Be nice to me. Tell me how good I am. And I'll see you next time. Next time I make a video, whenever that might be. It may be in 6 years. It may be tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow. It's more likely going to be 6 years from now. Bye-bye.